Good morning. Um, the Yoga of Relationships, book by Isabella Viglietti, Chapter 10, The Origin of Thoughts and Feelings. Think, feel, and experience is based on thought. Furthermore, without existence consciousness, there are no objects to perceive, no thoughts to think or feelings to feel. Think about it. How do you know what you know? Or how do you know what you don't know unless you are conscious? Your thoughts and feelings don't think and feel. They do not know you, so how can they be you? Nothing inside or outside makes you think and feel. You, consciousness, the knower of your thoughts and feelings, make thinking and feeling possible. Thoughts and feelings are only a problem if you identify with them. We need to acknowledge our feelings as a relative truth about ourselves in the moment, not the truth about who we actually are. If I can see that my feelings are objects known to me, I have the power to manage them in such a way that they do not control me. Most of us exaggerate the importance of feelings or emotions as if they confer a right to call attention to ourselves and to manipulate others with them. The common exclamation, "But this is how I feel," somehow suggests that feelings are ultimate reality. Sad to say, they are poor indicators of truth because they are always changing. If you say, "I loved you yesterday, but I hate you today," are you the one that loved yesterday or the one that hates today? You can't be either because you're always present, observing your thoughts and feelings. If feelings were real, they would not begin and end. Yes, they have a certain practical utility, or not, but they are spiritually useful in that they point to the constant, ever present someone beyond them. Thoughts and feelings. Feelings are good indicators, however, of how the three energies mentioned earlier play out in our minds. If you understand them, you have a leg up on mind management. Unbeknownst to most, all feelings start off as thoughts, not feelings. It takes great vigilance to catch the thought that precedes a feeling. A feeling arises a split second after the thought and obscures the like or dislike behind it. Therefore, vigilance is the price of freedom. The mind is always producing thoughts, most of them non-volitional. There is no way to switch it off, but you can manage it by owning it as your primary instrument. Learning how to eliminate unhelpful thoughts and choose thoughts that are in harmony with your highest values. There's nothing inherently wrong with involuntary thoughts, but they tend to immediately morph into obscuring emotions, which are liable to create unwanted karma through unwise actions. Duality produces positive and negative thoughts. The world tells us that if we don't feel, there is something wrong with us. When I was young, I was exhorted by some people, mostly family, to stop looking under every rock for the truth, to think less and feel more. I never listened, thank goodness. Knowledge was my main motivation, and for me, thinking always beats feeling, although I have a rich emotional life. As a result, I've often been accused of being arrogant and unfeeling. Most people believe they are only truly alive when they feel something intensely. Extreme sports addicts are a good example. Rajas in the form of adrenaline floods their systems when they put their lives at risk. Many people watch violent or horror movies to get their cheap thrills. Duality being what it is, both positive and negative feelings are constantly cycling through the mind. We all want to feel love, happiness, completeness, etc. None of us want negative feelings, but they will not go away unless we transform them into positive feelings and thus transcend the mind. Transcendence, however, is not transportation to a feeling-free state of mind. It is only accomplished by the knowledge that the mind itself is not real, and therefore neither are emotions. Self-realized people occasionally have negative feelings. They are just unaffected by them. Feelings are reflected love. Positive feelings, however delicious, are an effect of the transpersonal love that is my true nature. Feelings are not real love, although the feeling of love reflects the love that I am. They're just not who I am, as the image in a mirror is a true reflection of me, but it is not me. In essence, however, there's no difference, because personal love, the reflection, and transpersonal love, the source of the reflection, are one, owing to the non-dual nature of reality. Is there really a difference between a ray of sunshine and the sun? But there is a difference because although love itself never ends, intense feelings of love always end, which is where problems arise. What do I do when the feeling of love changes or ends? Not knowing that love can't be gained or lost, I feel I have lost love. Unless we gain the knowledge of our wholeness from an intense non-dual experience or from dedicated contemplation of the non-dual teachings of Vedanta. Most of us take the feeling of love to be reality, not the knower of the feeling. Feelings should not be denied or suppressed. They must be acknowledged and understood in the light of self-knowledge, not through the filters of our likes and dislikes. If you cannot be objective about your feelings, you are at their mercy. Seeing the world through them makes discrimination impossible. Self-inquiry objectifies feelings, making it possible to detach from them and transform negative into positive feelings. Feelings are caused by a subconscious reaction to events that are not in harmony with our likes and dislikes. With the help of karma yoga and self-inquiry, we can reduce these automatic reactions to a minimum. If feelings become a substitute for thinking, suffering is inevitable. Perception and inference. The five senses which give rise to our perceptions and the inferences we draw from them inform all of our feelings. The only means of knowledge available to us in this world are the five senses. They fall short when it comes to knowing who we are for two reasons. All sense information is subject to interpretation. I experience everything through the filters of my conditioning. Therefore, I don't experience the world as it is, but how I see it. And two, consciousness is not an object of perception. Perception and inference cannot know it because it is subtler than thoughts and feelings. You would not have thoughts and feelings if you were not conscious. Thus, thoughts and feelings are objects known to you, consciousness. Therefore, don't trust your feelings about who you are unless the teachings confirm them. Self-love equals self-confidence. Self-love is unshakable self-confidence. It's not a feeling because it doesn't end. I feel it whether I'm in love or not, whether I'm feeling good or not. It is the firm knowledge that no matter what happens in my life, I'm complete and whole and nothing touches me. The I am. Nobody gives to me and nobody can take me away from myself. From myself. Self-love is the hard and fast knowledge that everything I perceive and infer from the world is me looking at myself. From this perspective, there's nothing to fear and nothing not to love. Chapter 11, Mind Management. Your mind is your best friend or your worst enemy. It can lift you up to giddy heights or it can kill you. Suicides prefer death to their thoughts. It's their thoughts that kill them, nothing else. Pills won't fix your thoughts, only discrimination will. A discriminating mind focuses on thoughts congruent with its highest values. An undeveloped, uncontrolled mind is capricious, yet I need not yield to its caprices. I'm the boss, because without me it doesn't exist. It cannot hold me ransom to negative patterns of thought unless I give it the power to do so. To manage the mind, I should understand the four ways it thinks and master the first three. The last one applies only to self-actualized individuals. The four types of thinking. Impulsive thinking is number one. Unexamined thoughts born of instincts dominate the mind. I do what I feel without thinking about it and suffer the consequences. Obviously, a mind dominated by this type of thinking is not actually thinking, it is reacting. Take the 50-something tenured head of the physics department of a major university who falls in love with a 20-something graduate student and runs off to Mexico, overstaying his Christmas holiday. He is so besotted that he neglects to cook up a story and call the university to explain his absence. He loses his job, home, wife, and money. To add insult to injury, his nubile playmate takes up with his best friend once her romantic vacation is over. 2. So that was impulsive thinking. 2. Mechanical thinking. Involuntary, repetitive thoughts of which I am more or less conscious, but have no power to control, produced by ingrained conditioning, of which I am at best only dimly aware, are mechanical. Mechanical thinking is the cause of one's of life's greatest miseries, boredom, and results in a continual desire for entertainment. These thoughts are subsumed by one untrue, toxic, esteem-destroying thought, which I call the voice of diminishment. I'm not good enough, not smart enough, or capable enough. I'm not rich enough, pure enough, powerful enough, valuable enough, etc. to succeed. And 3. Deliberate thinking. Thoughts subjected to discrimination that are accepted or dismissed with reference to my value structure are deliberate. If you want happy relationships, your life should be knowledge-centric, not feeling-centric. The right values create positive feelings. Bad values create negative feelings. You do not need permission to choose your thoughts. Thoughts may loom large like mountains, but are not etched in stone. A thought is a simple, short-lived event in your mind, nothing more. Don't dwell on thoughts that produce bad feelings. Pounce on self-abasing thoughts like a vigilant, hungry cat on a mouse and destroy it. Like Luke Skywalker, blast the VODs, voices of diminishment, shame, anxiety, which are enemies of your peace of mind, with your DL-44 lightsaber of knowledge. Because we don't understand the non-dual nature of reality, we see life as a duality, a perception based on a lie. We cannot, however, just dismiss the lie outright, because it has turned our minds into a snaky, Medusa-like mixture of thoughts that need to be unraveled bit by bit. Duality means that every negative thought implies a positive thought, and vice versa. It so happens that the mind cannot entertain more than one thought at a time. If 5 thoughts appeared simultaneously, how would you know which one was real? Of course, no thought is real, but some thoughts are more helpful than others to get us to the point where we can dismiss all our thoughts as unreal. So I can't enjoy a positive and a negative thought simultaneously. If I had a choice, I would only focus on happy thoughts. And you do have a choice, so just do it. What is stopping you? The opposite thought. The appearance of a bad thought is not a command to dwell on it. I can just as well dwell on its opposite. Neutralize a stingy mind by giving generously. Neutralize a distrusting mind with a trusting mind. Wipe away a dirty thought with a clean thought, a depressing thought with an uplifting thought. I'm small and incomplete is a negative thought. I'm whole and complete is a positive thought. Neutralizing thoughts with their opposites is difficult at first. You feel like a fraud taking a stand in a positive thought, not because positive thoughts are dishonest, but because you are so conditioned to believe that you are inadequate and incomplete, so much so that asserting the truth seems like a lie. But incompleteness is the lie. The difference between a sunny and a gloomy personality is due to the preponderance of positive or negative thoughts. The 3 controlling energies. As mentioned throughout this book, the material part of reality is controlled by 3 energies called gunas. All 3 of these energies are necessary and useful. They completely define us as living beings, but they all have an upside and a downside. Any one of them can create problems. To achieve success in relationships, you need a dedicated guna managed lifestyle. To achieve an appropriate lifestyle, you need to guna manage your mind. To manage your mind, you need guna knowledge. Blaming yourself for failures and taking credit for successes is a problem because it makes everything that happens about me, as if I were the only object in existence. Yes, I do exist, and I play a part in life. But anyone with a modicum of intelligence can see that I'm only one small factor in a vast web of relationships that extends far beyond my immediate environment. Thus, carrying the burdens of the world makes me a burden to myself and others. Guna knowledge of the big picture, takes a heavy existential burden off my mind. Similarly, thinking a relationship is only about me is a disaster. Relationships are about us. At the same time, it shows what can be done to transform my relationships. Guna knowledge relieves performance anxiety, allows me to completely relax and act in an appropriate and timely fashion. It transforms a dissatisfied personality into an asset in the eyes of my significant other, not to mention to myself. Understanding the gunas is wonderful because it depersonalizes my suffering. Thoughts are just thoughts. They don't belong to anyone. To the degree that one identifies with one's thoughts and feelings, one is incapable of objectifying the mind and remains stuck in the world of duality. Once childhood pain has been resolved by karma yoga or some other means, it is possible to become objective about your thoughts and feelings and appreciate how the mind is controlled by the gunas, which makes transcendence possible. Transcendence is non-dual vision, benign indifference to guna-generated experiences, and freedom from dissatisfaction-induced action. It is knowledge that I have nothing to gain by doing anything, but non-doing is not an inactivity. It is freedom in action, not freedom from action. The gunas create your personality and lifestyle, just as your lifestyle choices enhance the positive or negative aspects of each guna. Sattva inclines the mind towards knowledge, pleasure, and beauty, and creates a knowledge-centric infrastructure for your life. If you enjoy solitude and simplicity, know that sattva is your dominant guna. It also creates an agreeable, accommodating personality because sattvic individuals are self-contained and self-satisfied. But the downside of sattva is complacency, conceit, and arrogance because knowledge is power. Rajas, the mode of passion, makes the mind restless and disturbed and inclines an individual to innumerable activities. Rajasic people are only satisfied when they are satisfied. It extroverts the mind, making it agitated, frantic, worried, anxious, distressed, and confused. Rajas generates complex, often overwhelming, and unwieldy life situations. It creates outgoing, competitive, aggressive, power-hungry, needy personalities. But without it, we can't act. When it is paired with sattva, the mind becomes focused, efficient, capable, and confident. Paired with tamas, it creates a host of miseries. Excess rajas always produces tamas, dullness, fear, exhaustion, depression, and denial. Tamas inclines the individual to sloth because it suppresses rajas and sattva, creating a heavy, procrastinating mind and dark, loveless environments ideal for inactivity. It evolves uninteresting, clueless personalities. A mind mired in fantasies is tamasic. Fantasy, a compensatory mechanism, allows you to accomplish in your mind what you're too lazy and incompetent to accomplish in the real world. The gunas bind. In the macrocosm, the gunas are beautiful qualities. They create the world and the living beings out of limitless existence. The gunas are God, Ishvara, the field of life, you name it. They don't affect God, so God doesn't have problems, but they bind us to our bodies and minds, unless knowledge and practice neutralize them. That they are hardwired is good because it means that you don't have to feel guilty about the psychological self you were born with. On the other hand, I'm going to read that line again. That they are hardwired, the gunas, is good because it means that you don't have to feel guilty about the psychological self you were born with. On the other hand, it is not so good because they are hidden from view and produce the frustrating psychological mechanisms we all must deal with. You can't get rid of them, but you can manage the relative proportions of one to the other to achieve a light, happy mind and an attractive personality. To keep it simple, fear, tamas, and desire, rajas, are difficult energies, although they have their upsides, as mentioned above. They are the same, but different. A fear is a negative desire, and a desire a positive fear. If you want something, there is a fear that you won't get it, and if you do get it, there's a fear of losing it. Since the mind of a worldly person is nothing but things it has and doesn't have, fear and desire always bedevil it. The third energy, sattva, is mostly the solution to mind management, although sometimes we need more rajas to get things done, or more tamas to help us sleep. I have emotional problems only because life is not giving me what I want, meaning that my mind is subconsciously dominated by rajas and tamas. If it was predominantly sattvic, it would serve me well, and I would accomplish my goals without a lot of fuss. Karma yoga transforms a dull, tamasic, and excessively active rajasic mind into a clear, peaceful, efficient, sattvic mind. Secular karma yoga is good for worldly people, but sacred karma yoga is mandatory for people who want freedom and non-dual love. Without it, self-knowledge will not stick, and non-dual love will not flower. If dominant rajas and or tamas, or, or equal proportions of them, don't solve a conflict, the conclusion is obvious, since only one guna remains. If you subordinate rajas and tamas to sattva, everything will go smoothly, because sattva supplies the steady alertness and dispassion required to notice the warning thoughts that come before the aggressive rajasic energy or the depressing tamasic energy is about to appear. It gives you the clarity to evaluate the content of your mind and change it with reference to your highest value. In this way, rajas and tamas are denied the opportunity to mature into deluding emotions that will inevitably lead to relationship problems. I think till so far, this this chapter on mind management, it's a long chapter, so tomorrow I will continue and then we'll finish this chapter. So for now, have a good day. Bye for now.